Collaborative language learning techniques in the digital classroom. Technology. It has changed the world we live in, and that includes the way that we teach. Coming into the 21st language classroom, many changes can be viewed, especially with regards to technology. You may already use technology in your classroom, in your teaching, but what's on the forefront of technology in the language learning classroom these days? We are going to take an in-depth look at some of the up-and-coming technology uses in the language classroom and why they are beneficial. The first type of technology that we are going to take a look at is blogs. I am sure that most of you know what blogs are and are perhaps even avid bloggers or blog readers. But how can you use a blog in a language classroom, and why should you? Because of their growing popularity, it is no surprise that blogs have made their way into the language classroom. But why? Why are blogs useful in the language classroom? I want to start answering this question by looking at Kumara Vadivelu's idea of learner autonomy. Learner autonomy, as we have been introduced, can increase a student's motivation and give them a reason to take responsibility for their own learning. Blogs give students the opportunity to control their own learning, and research suggested that students who take control of their own learning have greater learning success that likewise permeates into future learning. This research has stated that there is a 5-stage model of how blogs can lead to learner autonomy. Stage 1 is the access level, where learners become familiar with technology such as how to use a blog, how to navigate different features of a blog, and how to best participate in an online setting. In Stage 2, learners will become involved in social interaction through communication and interpretations of each other's ideas. This is the stage where learners will introduce their ideas and read and interpret others' ideas. In the third stage, learners engage in information exchange. Here they are able to exchange their ideas and knowledge with other students. In this stage, the real interaction begins to happen, as students start to share their thoughts about each other's ideas and engage in conversations about knowledge, new knowledge, and opinions. In Stage 4, learners are able to construct their own knowledge and work independently. The last stage, Stage 5, is the developmental stage. This is where students are able to use a blog as a method of learning through networking. Now that the students have essentially finished the process through to Stage 5, they are now capable to be autonomous learners. They have the skills that they need to take control of their own learning through a form of networking. I want to now turn to a very insightful piece of research that I came across. This research not only talked about how students use blogs, but it also talked a lot about the benefits of blogs. According to an article from the Journal of Computer Assisted Language Learning, it states that blogs can reduce the affective filter for shy and nervous students by minimizing the performance element that is found in many language classrooms. It gives these students the opportunity to engage and participate in a much less intimidating way. Blogs also offer samples of native speaker writing and also include cultural insights. Blogs are also a great way for students to practice their writing skills. And not only that, but their reflective writing skills. By using reflective writing skills in blogs, it provides a way for students to push their learning further. Lastly, one of the biggest advantages to using blogs in the language learning classroom is that they are accessible outside of the classroom. This is especially important with a limited amount of class time, since blogs can be accessed anywhere with an internet connection. Another important aspect of blogs is the teacher. Where does the teacher fit into blogs in the language learning classroom? The grid illustrates online pedagogical configurations likely to operate between teacher and learner on one hand and content and process on the other. The learner and the teacher are positioned on the opposite extremes of the horizontal line that signifies control of the content or activity. Conversely, the vertical line represents the nature of the process, either closed or open. Each quadrant corresponds to a combination of both parameters. Therefore, the northwest quadrant depicts the traditional teaching model with the teacher controlling the content and the process being closed. Consequently, the southwest quadrant combines the teacher-controlled content predominance with the open nature of the process. The northeast and southeast quadrants allocate more independence to the learner. Something else that the article mentions that is important to keep in mind when using a blog is some of the cons. Plagiarism can be an issue with an outside classroom work such as using a blog. It is much more difficult for a teacher to know for sure that students are doing their own work. Another kind of blogging deals with language level. Students at a lower level can find working with blogs to be very intimidating. The level of language that students can sufficiently read and write in also becomes an issue. Lastly, we have all experienced technological issues when working with technology. This is an issue that should be taken into account when asking students to use blogs and technology outside of the classroom. And lastly, I would like to show you the two main websites that people use for blogs. EduBlogs is the one that teachers and universities use most predominantly, and the most popular blogging website on the internet is WordPress. Next, I want to turn our focus to wikis. Wikis are different from blogs in a few key ways. A blog provides an open space for people to write an entry and post it online, much the same way a wiki does. However, only the person who wrote the blog entry has access to changing it. People may write comments about the blog post below, but they can't edit the actual content of the blog. Blogs adhere to a more journalistic style by cataloging information by date, whereas a wiki is a web page that can continually be modified by different people who have access to it. When a teacher uses a wiki in a class, all of the students who have access to it can modify the content, therefore providing the perfect platform for group editing, group projects, group discussion, reflections, and peer review. According to this research article in a Piazza Online, exploring the use of wikis with beginner and foreign language learners is one of the main reasons why educators are using wikis more and more in their classrooms, is because of the wiki's distinct feature of joint page creation and group editing. Wikis promote collaboration, language development, learning development, and active engagement through their open virtual space where students not only share information, but also alter it. According to the article, the potential of wikis for L2 learning in particular has become apparent in the last few years. One of the key advantages appears to be the opportunity wikis offer, thanks to their revision tracking feature, to trace the development of any document through its edit history, and if necessary, revert it to its previous version. Wikis can thus serve to document a learning process and prompt learners' reflection on their L2 work. They can see and ponder on changes they have made while working towards a finished product. Why is this important for L2 learners? The article states that a collective document creation is considered to provide two major language learning opportunities. First, it allows students to draw on not only their own knowledge and proficiency, but also their partners in solving linguistic problems encountered while producing a text. Second, it situates L2 learning in a social context where learners can work on their cultural and linguistic ideas through reflective inquiry with other people. In wikis, thanks to a variety of powerful information sharing and collaboration features, the technology provides an L2 platform where language learners can share information, provide feedback, engage in learning with each other, and jointly construct their L2 knowledge without time and place constraints. Another article that I came across in my reading was from the Journal of Foreign Language Annuals. This article, like the previous one, highlighted the positives of using wikis in the language classroom. However, this article also talked about some of the cons that go along with using wikis. The article discusses the problem of social loafing, which can happen during any collaborative activity. Social loafing is when not all of the students contribute equally to the project. Training is also a very important part of using a wiki. If the students are not properly trained in how to use the wiki, more problems can arise. Because of the way that wikis are designed to work, peer editing, it makes it Because of the way that wikis are designed to work, peer editing is part of what makes wikis so wonderful for collaboration. However, there are many students who are not comfortable with the idea of other students editing their work. This also works the other way with students not being comfortable editing another student's work. Another thing to keep in mind about wikis is that they may not appeal to all learning styles, and this could be a problem for some students who don't like to work collaboratively, or students who do not work well in an online setting and outside of class time. Lastly, I want to show you the one example of the best place to go for creating a wiki, which is Wikispaces, and this is the site that is specifically designed for teachers. So with that in mind, blogs and wikis are excellent ways to introduce technology into the language learning classroom. Hopefully this video taught you some new things.